Good morning, everybody. Hope message finds everybody well, and welcome back to the Built for Pressure podcast with me, Will Foden. First, forgive me for not getting this out on Monday. I lost my voice nearly to the worst disease known to man, which we will both know is man flu. It was absolutely horrendous. Having some time away on holiday with my family and my friends actually buried me into a hole. And those that know that if they're pushing themselves to the limit will understand that the minute that you actually stop is the minute that you get sick. That happened to me. But anyway, I digress. Today's episode, what we're going to be going over is what I've learned from some of the most successful people on the planet. A bold claim, but from someone who has operated in the high performance space and dealt with business leaders of people who are leading banks, leading pharmaceutical companies, leading law firms that from a global perspective, all the way through to people high in finance industry and also to professional athletes. These five key traits are something that I would like you to take, because people that are listening to this podcast are looking for that next 1%. And you do the first thing to distinguish with this is that actually you're not normal. You want to attain as much as possible on a continual basis is not for the faint-hearted, because you're going to be coming into challenge at most opportunity. You're going to be involved in something that is going to have some form of conflict, crisis, or challenge. My point being for you is that these five key traits are going to give you a little bit of an understanding of who you are, what you do, and why you need to do it this way. Because if you resonate with this message, you want to attain peak performance without losing yourself in the process, want to create more impact, more freedom, more revenue, grow the business, do the thing, do whatever high audacious goal you're looking for, these will help. So number one is that the people that I've worked with, they focus on the bare minimum that's going to keep them in check. What I mean by that is that when life is turbulent, when you're trying to find the balancing act between family, work, physical being, and also you as a person, understanding that what's the bare minimum that's going to keep that plate spinning is imperative. Most people that are looking for levels of extremes lose. We'll put this in a health perspective quickly. If you are 25% body fat and you send a text message to me saying, well, I want to get to 7% body fat, absolutely shredded wheat in the next 8 weeks, the trade-offs are massive. And how are you going to keep that? Vice versa, to the same person who is running a multi-million-dollar corporation, who's got a 1,000-person team, who has got 2 kids, a wife. They want to actually have some form of thing for themselves, whether it's physical, whether it's even just personal. That person who wants to go from 25% body fat down to 7 also appreciates there's many other things at play at the moment, and that the time it's going to take and the trade-off it's going to take is huge, but you can still get there if you play the game properly. Most people haven't got an understanding of what their bare minimum is. They associate the being all in being the only way, which is opposite. Everything has to find balance, and actually what that means is all in means all out when you're not doing it. Whereas what we're looking for is staying power. If you have, it's not about who's first. It's about who's here. It's about who's still here. And when it comes down to your physical well-being, when it comes down to your performance inside your business, when it comes down to your personal development, it's the person that has sustained habits around what they're doing and rituals around their own performance is the person that's going to not only progress, but it's actually going to win. Now, that's something I'd love you to take from this, is reversing away from the terminology of a need to find better habits. I think habits are bullshit, because habits, you can break them. Whereas if you find rituals, brushing your teeth. If you're listening to this and you do not brush your teeth, turn it off and leave. Yeah, but everybody here will be brushing their teeth. Um, that is a ritual. That's not a habit, because you do it at a certain time every single day. Same thing with washing your hands, going to the bathroom, or whatever it is. Those are very menial skills. But if you understand that rituals around you, I train 6 days a week. Stop, full stop. Not now. Have I told you what is that full? Send it on an assault bike. Great for Instagram. Good for the reels. Absolutely not. The last 2 days, I sat on a Concept 2 bike for half an hour, and I felt like death. But for me, that's given me the opportunity to actually take charge of what I'm doing, and also clip the ticket. That's the main thing. Number two is most are still searching for balance. Your work-life balance will never be there, because balance is bullshit. I guarantee. Let's put a bit of role play here. You go on holiday with your fella or your missus, sitting on a beach, having your favorite drink, reading a book or whatever you're doing. What's in the back of your head? What's happening at work? Now, people tell you, oh yeah, the biggest flex is that you can leave your business and never think about work. Those people who are entrepreneurial, I guarantee you're thinking about work. You're thinking about growth. You're thinking about being creative. You're thinking about developing the next thing, doing the next thing, building the next piece. How can I leverage this, etc., etc. The difference is that you've got time and space to be creative and explore that. When you're not when you're at work or when you're in the middle of the firefight of business, you're on and you're on delivery. It's a very different ball game. I for a long period of time, I tried to separate myself and my work. The issue that I found with that was I actually got super frustrated when I was in periods where I was just trying to be normal and trying to sit there and talk about, I don't know, what British people talk about is talk about the fucking weather every 5 minutes. I found I got super frustrated. Where actually, when I realized that if I bring my family along with me and they come and we have some amazing experiences, and in the process, I'm delivering world class, impactful consultancy that is going to not only fuel my business and pay me well. I then suddenly realized that actually, do you know what, my balance between my life and my kid is about what's my rituals around my family. Joy's non-negotiable in the morning. It's not an optimal time for me because I could go and train and be productive and all this other shit. Actually, do you know what, 2 hours with my son is more important. Me and Rach, I have dinner with my wife every night when I can, when I'm at home, because if I don't have dinner with my missus, I won't see her all the day. Even though she's busy being a mum and all this other stuff. My point being is I don't look for balance in that respect. I look for balance in relation to how to make sure that I sustain pressure on both things that are going to work. And there's a time in the day when my family are going to be doing their thing and I can't be involved in it. It's going to be a part of me where I go walk the dog and I'm fully with the boy, I'm fully with my family. It's the same thing. So looking for balance is you're going to be one of your biggest issues if you're trying to grow your business or grow yourself. Next is actually relinquishing power to find freedom and then taking power back to find control. Most people who are leading businesses only associate control and power in the same breath. It doesn't work, because the issue then is you've got a huge piece of the puzzle, or which is on the other end of the seesaw, which is actually having freedom, time, space, and happiness. Power and control are extremely important for a business owner, because that's what's going to give you the opportunity to make better decisions that are going to actually affect you long term. Vice versa, though, what most people do is they don't realize that your business has cycles of this. As you start to grow, you need to relinquish power and give it to other people to delegate, to eradicate small admin tasks for you, for take away the fluff out of your diary, for you to have more freedom to be more creative and create more impact. But then there will be times where you have to do the opposite. If a team member leaves and you've got to step in, that's when you've got to take control back, but you're going to lose freedom on purpose, because then you've got to actually start dealing with those tasks that you've delegated. My point being, everything you're doing is an infinite loop. Most people, again, whenever they're looking at social media or looking on podcasts and stuff, they're looking at finite information of that is absolutely no context. Whereas the biggest, boringest, most annoying answer that you'll hear from any elite level coach is, it depends. I had this, the health and fitness space, I use this because a lot of people get stuck with this. An example, massive thing at the moment is we're talking about calories in, calories out. We're still banging on about it, is it's the only way for weight loss. But if somebody's insulin insensitive, you can't give them carbohydrate without having negative feedback loops inside their body. So actually, calories in, calories out is important, but what's more important is actually macro manipulation to make sure that they can actually utilize and absorb food. My point being, everything has context. Blanket statements get blanket results. Most of you that are listening to this don't want blanket results. You want specific results to you. And that means you have to understand is that actually, where are you on that continuum? Number 4, 2 more digits, nice short and sharp on this today, because gangs, I want you to take this and I want you to run away with it, is that most people who are operating at a super high level, they act faster than their confidence and their biases. Decide it's the right time. They pull the trigger faster, knowing that they'd rather learn with feedback than wait for the perfect time. Most people rely on confidence to take action. I'm here to tell you that confidence only comes from courage, because confidence needs feedback from a live event. You can't have confidence before you do the thing. Once you've done the thing, you then have confidence. An example, I was talking to a customer of mine who's got some public speaking coming up, and she struggles with her public speaking. She's never done it before. And she also, her job now requires that she has to put some stuff on social media too. My argument to her was, what lens is she looking at this through? Because what most people do is they'll go, okay, cool, I've got no confidence, so I can't start. Rather than, what's the bigger thing here? Is that whatever you're trying to do is like playing a musical instrument. You don't turn into, you can't pick up a guitar once and turn into Jimi Hendrix unless you're a freak. Same thing with public speaking. You can't be Simon Sinek until you've actually stepped on stage once in front of 6 people and his dog, because you've never done it before, because you've never had the sets and reps, you've never had the exposure, you've never understood. So you're looking for confidence to take action is like looking to win the lottery before buying anything. It's never gonna fucking happen. What we need to start thinking about here is that actually getting feedback and thinking and adapting on the move is the biggest multiplier of success out of anything here. So if you are sat on the fence and you're struggling with confidence, there's a couple of things that you want to start looking at here. There is an exercise called the Johari window, which is an exercise. Google it. That is an exercise you can do to learn more about your confidence profile. We use a confidence framework inside Built for Pressure called Confidence Squared, which is all around actually more about self-awareness. Because if you understand the self-awareness principle and you actually have accountability, you're more likely to pull the trigger. An example to this person who is going to be doing public speaking, my thing is you do a Zoom webinar for your team, because that is public speaking. Oh, but they know me, so that doesn't matter. What you need to start doing is start getting sets and reps in and making it. It's speaking to camera. This podcast here, I promise you now, when I first started this, I thought, what the hell am I doing? And I still sometimes think that, because I'm literally stood in my office speaking to my camera. But I know through positive feedback loops and for people texting me and saying, mate, I really enjoyed that podcast. I learned this, I learned that. I needed that this time in my life, etc., etc. More exposure, more feedback, more confidence that I know the exact message that I need to deliver, just so I can build a community of people around this. It means it's bigger than me, and it means I don't rely on confidence to do it. It becomes a ritual in my process. And lastly, the biggest game changer for that I've learned for people who are operating at a world-class level is they have structure. People think that random equals random in everything that you do. And if you haven't sharpened the axe before you use it, you're going to get fatigued and burn out. People that are operating at a mad level and people that are growing businesses way past the $1 million mark and beyond, and I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars in some of my customers' realms for their companies, is they have structure around 3 areas, which again, shameless plug, we look after all 3 areas. The person first. They have somewhere where they have objective feedback loops about them, where they have an opportunity, their health, their performance, their feelings, their emotions. They then have structure around their professionalism, how they actually deal with crisis, challenge, chaos, and change, and how they actually integrate times in which they have to push their business, times in which they have to explore and look after their team, times in which they have to look for new R&D, whatever it is. They have time placed in their diary specifically to do it. And lastly, they don't lose connection. They don't lose connection with their physical being. They make sure that they're personally and physically kept in check by looking after their health and optimizing what they've got, purely on the basis of knowing that if they are optimized from a health standpoint, their performance is going to be improved. They're going to have more energy. They're going to have better sleep. They're going to have better libido. They're going to have all the good positive things around health that gets skimmed over until you get man flu. When you get man flu, I promise you now, you'll then wish you have your health back, because that was absolutely horrific. But more to the point of, your health is the number one driving force for you to actually operate at the highest level. So anyway, I digress. Those are the 5 key traits that I found for the most important, most sort of successful people that I've ever worked with. I hope everybody got a chance to listen to Tom Foxley's podcast last week too. Absolute shout out to him. Thank you again, mate. That was what an episode that was. And we've got a few more incoming now. I'm getting the wheels back, turning back in the UK. So stay tuned. We've got a UK event. And also, lastly, if you have been struggling and you are unsure about where you're at and what you need to do and how you need to operate, in the show notes, we have got the stress test that I've been using for the last 6 weeks. We've had some amazing results with. It's free. It'll give you a game plan on what part of your game that you need to improve on, and more to the point, give you that structure that you need to start dominating. So anyway, I digress. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. Sending my love, and I'll catch you next week.